Hi there. My name is Pam Dunn. I am the founder of the Peaceful Project. I am also the owner of Your Infinite Life Training and Coaching Company. And what I'm going to talk about today is the concept of physical self-care. I hopefully you've listened and watched the other videos on mental, emotional, and spiritual self-care. Physical self-care is really important, and and to understand that taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually takes care of you physically as well. So that's why the holistic concept of self-care is vitally important. And yes, in stressful times, it's really important. I actually have found that in my coaching and in my own personal life, that when you're proactive, in other words, you're on a regular basis, making sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that what happens is when your stress level threshold begins to expand, or there's more stress, more chaos, more challenges in your life, you actually have what it takes to move through it more gracefully. And often you have enough space to make sure that the discouragement isn't what's leading you, that your true self, your true essence, the realities, the capabilities can take the lead. And remembering that stress and, a short fuse and, easy to be irritable and those concepts of hangry are symptoms of not taking care of ourselves. And so you don't want to wait until you're hangry in order to feed yourself, because not only do you need physical self-care in that moment, but then you're going to need the mental and emotional self-care as well. So when you knock yourself off of balance in one area, it affects all areas. And that's why in this video on physical self-care, it's important to understand that physical self-care isn't necessarily the key to making you feel better. However, it is important. I love and think that if we all operate from the knowing, the understanding that this physical body that we're in is the means with which we are here to make a difference for people, in order to be the parent, the teacher, the administrator, the leader, the spouse, the friend, whatever it is, that we really want to be, that radically loving this house, that the only house we get, to be the representation, to be the expression of ourselves, that sometimes just having that awareness, then we can understand that this is a house we need to take care of. The way we take care of our home, the way we take care of our classrooms, the way we take care of our cars, the way we take care of our phones. Do we take care of our bodies that well? Do we make sure that rest is something that's taken seriously, that nourishment is taken seriously, that movement is part of what keeps us healthy? Because yes, a healthy body is part of self-care. And by the way, an illness is not always an indication that you didn't take care of yourself. So don't disrupt your mental and emotional self-care by telling yourself those things either. You deserve to take care of yourself physically. And what does that look like for you? And keep in mind, I've been saying this in the other videos, but it's so important, especially when it comes to physical self-care, that small small measures create big changes. So if you have been telling yourself that, oh, I want to be somebody who exercises regularly, well, set a realistic goal. Don't make your goal right off the bat to exercise 5 days a week for, minimum an hour. I know that's a big goal for me, but it may not be for you. And at the same time, it could be that you do 5 sit-ups or 5 push-ups, or you walk up and down the stairs once or twice more than you normally do. But start with the small measures, because when you're creating new habits, you want to make it easy for yourself at first. And then once you create the habit, then you can build on it. Then you can add time. Then you can add more movement. But you have to have that experience first, that it feels good, that it's working for you. And so the other thing that happens in self-care is that, well, all types of self-care actually, we don't often take the time to acknowledge ourselves for taking care of ourselves. So when you take the time to nourish yourself and make a healthy lunch, or make a good dinner, or to not have seconds, or to make sure that you don't eat that ice cream that you want to, that you're tempted to eat, but you've told yourself you don't want to, or that you're not going to. Those types of things deserve your acknowledgement. That's loving yourself. We do a lot of shoulds with our body. I should exercise more. I should eat better. I should sleep more. Or I should sleep less. You see, when we're shoulding, then what happens is not only are we affecting our physical self-care, we're affecting it even more by disrupting our mental and emotional self-care, by saying negative things to us. You see how they're all intertwined. And you don't want to let that overwhelm you. But you want to begin asking yourself the question when you might feel stressed, or when you have that inkling of, I need to do something to take care of myself today. You want to ask yourself, is it a mental, a spiritual, an emotional, or a physical way that I want to take care of myself? Because the reality is that sometimes you can have a beautiful family dinner, and that will take care of every category: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So acknowledging that sometimes when you nourish yourself, it takes care of everything. Sometimes when you move, sometimes when you meditate, sometimes when you get good rest, it changes everything. That's why also when you take care of yourself physically, you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You see, they all work together. And so make sure that you're asking yourself, you deserve this. We all deserve this. Yes, I don't want to minimize that. A lot of us, even when we hear that, we're like, yeah, I know I deserve it, but I don't have the time for it. And the reality is why not? You wouldn't tell your best friend, oh, you don't have time to take care of yourself. You would tell your best friend how important she is, or he is, or they are. And you would encourage them to take care of themselves. Encourage yourself to take care of yourself physically. Radically love this house that you're using as your means of expressing yourself in the world. And take care of it. Nurture it. Nourish it. Give it good rest. Create movement. Sometimes getting somebody to support you. Maybe it's an accountability partner, because that works for you. But maybe it's a friend because you know that you do a better job of movement or of taking care of yourself physically when you have a team, when you have someone else doing it with you. If you have people that you live with, enroll the rest of your family in that process. Begin to understand that those things that we may have thought of or utilized as rewards, if I accomplish this, then I get to eat a cookie, or I get to have a glass of wine, or I get to have that ice cream. That you want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up, that the things that are good for you, that are self-care, become rewards. Self-care is not a reward, or it's not something that you wait until you need it in order to do it. Self-care is something that you do every single day, because then you begin to notice all the things that take care of yourself. Those days when you actually had the space and felt like you wanted to yell and you didn't yell, or felt like you wanted to not do that project that you know you have to do, and you pushed yourself and you did it anyway. That actually is self-care. But we don't often take the time to tell ourselves that we took care of ourselves by accomplishing a goal, by taking something off of our to-do list. You see, we don't recognize often that self-care comes in all different packages. And so to acknowledge that when you do something, acknowledge yourself for it, and then even ask yourself, how did that take care of me? Was it mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical? It could be one or all, or some of those. So again, remember that in order to expand your threshold, which everybody has to do now in these times, but we also always have to do them when we're met with challenges. We have to expand our threshold. And expanding your threshold is always important. And the best way to be able to do that at the time that you need it is to always be taking care of yourself, and to understand that when you're stressed, it's a symptom that you need to take care of yourself. You always want to allow the encouragement to lead, not the discouragement. So get out there, take good care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you.